On today's show, we will get the opportunity to talk about what impact actually means, why women's leadership in science matters, and what it takes to ensure solutions don't stay on paper, but rather benefit real people in Brazil, Serbia, and Türkiye. Welcome to MULTIPULM Voices. I am your host, Chris Aguilar, and this is where research meets real-world care. MULTIPULM is a Horizon Europe project working on accessible integrated care for people with multiple chronic conditions in low and middle income countries, specifically Brazil, Serbia, and Türkiye. Throughout the month of February, in recognition of the International Day of Women and Girls in Science, we're launching our Women in Science podcast series, where we spotlight women shaping integrated ethical and implementable science. This series is about visibility, ownership, and leadership, because the future of integrated care is being built by both men and women's voices deserve to be heard. Today's guest works at the intersection of innovation, adoption, and long-term impact. She is the exploitation leader and researcher of the MULTIPULM project and a good friend of mine. Let's give a warm welcome to Sofia Iosifidou.
Thank you, Chris. It's my pleasure to be here. Thanks a lot for the invitation. I'm looking forward to this discussion.
Thank you, Sophia, and welcome. Now, Sophia and I
Thank you.
go way back. We both work for Future Needs, one of the partners of the MULTIPULM project. But for our listeners, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what does the exploitation leader and researcher in MULTIPULM do?
Thanks a lot, Chris, for the question. I'm coming from Greece. I have studied chemical engineering in Greece, and recently I obtained an engineering doctorate in process and product design from the Eindhoven University of Technology in the Netherlands. I've been working at Future Needs team basically on socioeconomic and business-related research, and this is something that also applies in the MULTIPULM project, where I'm contributing, representing the Future Needs team to business exploitation, midterm viability, and sustainability assessments, and basically looking at what is the socioeconomic impact of the integrated solutions from all these aspects within MULTIPULM, what will be the financial, the socioeconomic impact of them.
How exciting. So from Thessaloniki to Eindhoven to now this international project, tell us a bit more. What drew you personally to work on chronic respiratory multimorbidity and integrated care?
So basically, I was drawn to this topic because of the opportunity to work on quite interesting health-related issues on chronic respiratory conditions and seeing how integrated care solutions, but also the most interesting for me was to see how we can assess the impact on these solutions from a business and viability impact perspective.
Let's zoom out a bit and talk about the human aspect of science. Was there a moment in your career where being a woman shaped your scientific journey, either in a good way or a bad way?
I wouldn't say that there is a specific moment, as far as I remember from my studies or from my work journey so far, that as being a woman has shaped this journey either positively or negatively. But I think I have a lot of small examples of women that have a strong influence on me so far. So reflecting a little bit on my studies, where engineering is basically a male-dominated field, in my department there was an equal number of women and men. And basically, a lot of classmates of mine have been recognized multiple times, either for projects or rewards. And also professors, I would say, that their scientific success had also a huge influence on me. And regarding my recent role at Future Needs, I would say that I'm quite inspired by a lot of women there. The CEO of Future Needs and founder, Anna Paleolog, is actually a major source of inspiration due to her achievements, her very strong innovation-driven mindset, and also whatever she has achieved so far within a very short time frame. I would also like to talk about Eva Paleolog, who is also working in multiple projects. And I think that her multidisciplinary background across several scientific fields is something that is quite inspiring for me as well. And another partner of the project, Thea, is represented by another woman again, Magda Hadziku, and her motivated, strategic, and impact-oriented approach is something that I admire a lot on her.
That's refreshing to hear that you had this equal number of female and males in your classes. And I can only Completely agree 100%. We work with incredibly inspiring, strong, intelligent women, both in Future Need with Anna and Eva, as well as in Multipolm with Magda, with many of our guests who will be taking part of this series. So
Mm-hmm.
it's including
Indeed.
yourself. So that's really refreshing to hear. What about women's approach to problem solving? There are many times it's been said that women are incredible at multitasking. And let's talk a bit about problem solving. How do you think women approach problem solving in health research differently, especially with complex contexts like low to middle income countries and their health systems?
As you said, I mean, since women are actually quite good at the multitasking, I would say that they usually go for a more strategic, holistic approach. So whenever it comes to a complex context like those addressed within Multipulm, I think women go for the overall range of options that they have available, and they will find an effective solution at the very end. So this is something that I would say I admire a lot in women, that will consider of every aspect. They won't just go, so, okay, this is the solution, we go for it. But we have to consider all of the aspects of an issue.
Which barriers still exist for women in science today that we don't talk enough about?
A lot of them actually, and unfortunately, speaking of Greece, I would say that there are a lot of gender stereotypes still in for women in science, also in hiring, promotion, and this often leads to underrepresentation of women in leadership roles, because it's something that we face also in everyday lives. I mean, whenever a woman that is not a teenager, a teen anymore, that goes beyond 30 or 40 years old, they are going to not always, but in sometimes to be biased because of their age, because of their capabilities, if they're going to be able to go through leadership roles, etc.
You're right, Sophia. There's often a very unfair standard that is held against women
Mm-hmm.
and the difficult role that they're put in. So let's break those stereotypes, those
Mm-hmm.
roles down. Let's switch gears a bit and talk about science that reaches people. So, what does impact mean to you in a project like Multipolm?
In Multipalm, it's not just delivering an effective solution. It goes beyond that and addresses as well financial, societal, and organizational or political or policy dimensions integral to the project cycle. It doesn't have to be done at the end of the project. It starts from the very beginning of it. And I think it's quite important to always consider what is the impact of every analysis that we're going through.
What risks do we face when health innovation ignores social, cultural, or gender dimensions?
When ignoring this kind of dimensions, specifically in a project like Multipalm, which is a human center, I think that the analysis will usually stay out of place, will be misaligned. We're going to probably go for have wasted resources and limited real world impact, which is something that we really want to have within Multipalm. And it's something that exploitation tries to address as well. What is the impact of every solution that we are trying to achieve there?
Speaking for Sophia, as a woman working between research and real world adoption, what has shaped your career journey the most?
Latest graduation of mine, the second one, it was a key milestone for me because it gave me the confidence and maybe the skills, but majorly the confidence that I was lacking a lot in order to continue in my future career steps. Sometimes it's not always about the degree, the type of project that you have been working on. It has to do with how confident you are with what you're doing, confident on being able to solve a thing, confident to go in an interview and say, okay, I can do that. And this is something that I gained a lot with my latest degree.
And how would you say the audience can support women-led science and the Multipolm project, especially during this month of February where we're spotlighting women in science? How would you say that the audience or the people listening can support women in science?
Yeah, definitely being inspired by this month, I think that the audience has a chance to actually promote these women-led efforts in science. And one of the easiest ways to do so is basically to visit the website of this project that have women leadership. So, for example, in MULTIPULM, you can follow the website or the social media channels like LinkedIn, X, YouTube, this Spotify podcast, where you have the chance also to watch all the other videos of women in science and how is their role not only within MULTIPULM, but what are their achievements.
Thank you, Sofia. Also for that wonderful plug, our website is www.multipulm.eu. And as you said, the best way to support, it doesn't cost anything, right? Just to go visit, stay tuned, sign up for the newsletters, look at their social media channels, follow along, be a part of the discussion, comment, repost. I think you're right. That's a really good way. Stay engaged. Show these women that what they're doing has an impact and it matters. All right, so our show is coming to an end, but my favorite question is coming up now. So, what would you say to a young girl, like if you're talking to young Sofia, and back when you were 6 years old, or what would you say to a young girl in a place like Brazil, Serbia, Türkiye, who is considering a career in science?
To always follow your dreams, actually, and for sure to never let anyone limit what you have imagined for yourself, because you can do it. I mean, if I can, you can as well. And when you will trust yourself in this process, you're gonna proudly tell yourself at some point of your career that you have done something that when you were young felt impossible, felt like as a dream. And it's not just a dream, it's your dream and you can do it. And this is something that I'm going to tell everyone always. Do not be afraid of doing the things that you feel like, okay, there is no chance that I can get hired. There is no chance that I can enroll in the university. No, there is. And if this is not the case, you can do something else. I mean, it doesn't have to be specifically that, okay, I didn't succeed in something, so everything is coming to an end. Everything is happening for a reason, and you're going to understand what is the reason behind every step that you have gone through all of these years.
That's some wonderful advice you have for our future women in STEM, in the sciences, for our young girls that are listening out there. We hope that Sofia's story has inspired you. And Sofia, I want to thank you so much for joining us, for sharing your story and your work. It's been a real pleasure as always.
Thank you so much, Chris, for this opportunity, for reminding me of this day. And I hope that all the girls out there are actually inspired by the stories that they will listen to. And thank you for your nice work in this project.
To everyone listening, thank you for being part of the series. If you want to support women shaping integrated care, do as Sofia suggested and follow this MULTIPULM podcast. Share this episode with your network and explore MULTIPULM's work through our website, which was, again, www.multipulm.eu. And make sure to follow and engage in our social media channels on LinkedIn, as well as X and YouTube. We'll see you in the next episode, and thank you so much. MULTIPULM is funded by the European Union. Views and opinions expressed are, however, those of the author only and do not necessarily reflect those of the European Union or the European Health and Digital Executive Agency. Neither the European Union nor the granting authority can be held responsible for them.